Hi, hi, hi. Today you have three ed puzzles. I'm not sick. I'm on campus. I just have to go to a meeting. And so I'm here to try to help you study for your graphing part of your test. So please make sure that after you're done watching these ed puzzles, you complete the back side of the worksheet and that you turn it into the sub, and I will be sure to hand it back to you on Thursday after I record and give you credit for the work. Let's get started. So the front side of the worksheet has three graphs, and this worksheet is basically what your test is going to look like. And so I'm going to make a video for each one, and each case is done just slightly differently. The first graph that you have to do is a graph that's written in standard form. This is typically when you're solving and you want it in standard form because you are going to do the quadratic formula. But in this case, when you're graphing, you don't need the entire quadratic formula. You just need the negative b over 2a. It is the formula that was given to you on your benchmark, and it is how you can find the axis of symmetry, but it is also the x coordinate of the vertex. So when it says x equals, the x equals is going to be what you will use for the vertex of your graph, and it will also be what you write as the equation for the axis of symmetry. This is not the first time you've done this, and so what I'm going to ask you to try to do is calculate this on your own and then put in what you think it is in the ed puzzle multiple choice. So hopefully you've gotten it correct, and if you didn't, I want to make sure that you know how to do this. So opposite b, the b is 6, I'm going to use a negative 6, and then the formula comes packaged with a 2 all the time, and then room for the a, and the a in this case is negative 3. And so I'll multiply in the denominator. That'll give me a negative 6 over a negative 6, and a negative 6 divided by a negative 6 is a positive 1. And so I'll put a 1 here, and then it will also help me for my axis of symmetry. Now, the axis of symmetry is the dotted line that divides the parabola. It makes a mirror image, and I am going to label that x equals 1. For problems 1 and 2, name the vertex, the axis of symmetry, domain and range, intervals of increasing and decreasing, and then make a table with 5 points. So at this point, I can also make a table, and positive 1 is going to be in the middle of my table, and then I will count greater than 1, 2, 3, and then less than 1, 0, negative 1. Those will be the other two values on either side of my vertex. So to find the y-coordinate of your vertex, you're going to use your equation. And your equation is y equals negative 3 times x to the second power. My x is 1. This is probably the most approachable x that you can get. And once again, you've done this before. At this point, try to work it out and tell me what you think it is in the ed puzzle. And negative 3 plus 6 plus 1, y equals, and that will give me a 4. 6 plus 1 is 7, take away 3, or this is 3 plus 1 is 4, but I'll put a 4 right here, and then I'll put a 4 right here, and then over 1 up 4, that is my vertex. So the equation y equals negative 3x squared plus 6x plus 1 has a negative 3 as the stretch value, as the a. And what that can do for me on my graph is it can give me 2 points that are directly 1 unit on either side. And so if I knew this, negative 3, like if I knew that it did that, it would give me these 2 points. If I wasn't sure, then I could either sub in x equals 0 or x equals 2 into my equation, and I should know that these two will give me the same y. So again, you have an option. You can take either one of these. I would choose 0 if I had to. Or I can just use the stretch factor. So please choose the next 2 points that are going to be on your graph. So back 1, down 1, 2, 3, there's one there. Forward, down, down 1, 2, 3, there's one right there. And if I worked this out, I would get that the y was 1. And I can also use the graph. These two are 1s. Bam. Okay. Finally, the last 2 points, I am going to use the equation. Again, I can either use a 3 or a -1 in the equation for y equals. It doesn't matter which one. Please go ahead and sub that in. So -3 times, you could do -1. I'm going to choose +3 plus 6 times 3 plus 1. Again, please work that out. Select what you think it is, and then I will go through it. -27 plus 18 plus 1. That's, I don't know what that is. That's -9 plus 1. That's -8. Just to make myself feel better, I think I am also going to sub in the -1 and see what I get. That would give me -3, subtract 6 plus 1. That is -8. Again, you should get the same y value. That's the symmetry in the table that you see if you are placing the vertex right in the middle. Now, -8 is not going to fit on my graph, so I'm going to go ahead and just connect these points, making sure that I don't intersect the line x equals 3 or x equals -1, because that y value is like down here. Okay, now, domain and range. Domain from a graph is that this graph will extend forever from left to right. So the domain, you could say, is all real numbers. The range, because my graph is pointing down, this is the highest point. This is the maximum value. And so y equals 4 is the greatest, and y is less than or equal to 4 would describe all the other y's that are underneath. Now, my increasing interval would be using x values as I move from left to right. So my graph is increasing on the left side of x equals 1. And so for increasing, I'm going to put x is less than 1. And then for decreasing, that would be on, once it hits that high point, it starts to drop as I move from left to right. And so I will put x is greater than 1 to describe that part of the graph. And that is graph number 1. I hope you remember some of it. Please move on to the next Ed puzzle.